What is going on to all my movie fans out there, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are here to discuss Pearl, which is the prequel to one of my favorite horror films so far this year, X. Now this story follows our character Pearl, who feels trapped in their family's isolated farm. She's taking care of her older dad who's sick and living under the roof of a bitter and overbearing mother. Hoping for a more glamorous life, Pearl's ambitions, temptations, and repressions all collide to a horrific effect. Now the question is Pearl worth checking out? We're going to answer that question and so much more in today's spoiler-free review. But before we get into it, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any of my daily content. You can also give me a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All those links can be found in the description of this video. If you all enjoyed today's movie review, make sure you're giving the video a thumbs up and also sharing the review, but more importantly, sharing your thoughts on this film in the comments below. Let me know if you've seen X, which film that you prefer out of the two. But focusing more on Pearl, let's talk about the direction, the story, the performances. Are you excited to get more from this franchise, which we'll talk about at the end of this video? And also, we've been talking a lot about horror recently, so let me know your updated top 5 horror films that you have seen so far this year in the comment section. So let's start off by talking about the director and the co-writer of this film, Ti West, who I refer to as a wizard behind the camera. Now, I say that because I know a little bit of behind the scenes of these two films. Number one, they were shot back to back, and literally within a 3-week difference, Ti West and his crew were managing to put together with X, a 1970s slasher grindhouse film, and then 3 weeks later, you go into making Pearl, which is definitely an homage to 1930s, 1940s golden age of cinema with the use of technicolor aspects. To me, like I said, it's a wizard behind the camera. It's next level creativity. And one of the things that I also really appreciate what he's doing with this franchise is the statement that he's going through, this through line of what the film industry has done to these characters. Where X, it was more of these X-rated films, what it did to those characters. With Pearl, we're seeing with this obsession of what Hollywood can do for someone and wanting to become a star. So from a creative standpoint, a production standpoint, a direction standpoint, Ti West, you can tell this is a lot of passion for him, and it's just oozing off of the screen. Which, speaking of oozing off of the screen, let's talk about this performance here. I am just so amazed by what we saw. This is a force of nature by Goth here. She's literally in every single scene, and I just couldn't take my eyes off her. Her playing this character Pearl, who, number one, Pearl, and you met her in X, such an interesting character, and just seeing this performance here as we're seeing Mia, who's able to capture your sympathy in the first half of this film, because you're seeing this situation where she's on this farm, she's isolated with her dad that's sick with the Spanish flu, her mom is super religious and just kind of puts her in a box, and you kind of feel for her, but as the film goes on, she manages to just switch on the drop of a dime, where you get to learn more about this character as she displays her more sinister, more nightmarish elements and her murderous side. And again, the performance is just so great. There's two scenes that stand out to me. One that is a little bit later in the film where there's this 10-minute monologue of Pearl just venting to someone about her life, about Howard, who we know as her husband from X. And then there's another scene that just it's her looking at the camera, looking to the audience, smiling awkwardly, which felt like an eternity. And this performance reminds me a lot of what Joaquin Phoenix was able to do in a Joker, where you sympathize with the character at first, but as the film goes on, you just see who they really are. And again, this performance is next level. Transitioning over to some things I also liked about seeing this film from Pearl's perspective, it felt like a fantasy at time. I feel like you were in a dream-like sequence. Things felt heightened. So again, the perspective of this story being told from her lens was a very interesting perspective. But also, being a fan of X, I definitely want to applaud the little Easter eggs, little nods to certain locations we saw in X, certain creatures we met in X. So I definitely appreciated that. And speaking of X, to me, X, the kills were a little bit more creative, and also it has a much higher body count. But when Pearl does get to those more horrific elements, they are pretty gnarly. I'll say that. But going into some of my criticisms here with the film, one of my biggest issues with this story was it was unfortunately for me very predictable and at points very uninteresting. Now, I say that because, again, just kind of tying it into my experience with how this film kind of is obviously connected to X, I felt X did a much better job of mentioning Pearl's past more so than this film showed at points, which is kind of unfortunate because you have an hour and 45 minutes to really expand on this story. But to me, the way that they kind of gave us a story was just more interesting. So getting into, now again, I mentioned the film does a good job of creating a sense of sympathy and you care for the character at first, but that only lasts for about 15-20 minutes because as the film goes on, as an audience member, I kind of lost interest in the character. It wasn't due to the performance. It's just from a narrative perspective. We're seeing this character who feels like they need this, they should have this in their life. And there's points when Pearl's like hating other people for being able to do a better job at certain things. I'm just like, I don't care for this character because, again, it's just obviously, again, relating to the Joker, I never was rooting for Arthur in that film, nor am I rooting for Pearl, but you still want to be able to feel engaged with the character, and I just kind of lost that engagement because I wasn't really on board with the story that we had at hand. Again, I found the story to be one of the more weaker elements. But going into another thing that really kind of stood out to me, the supporting cast were fine as far as acting goes, but I found the supporting cast, anyone outside of Mia Goth, was just very flat and very bland. Now, when you compare this to X, I found X to not really pick up its momentum to like the second half of the film, which is like 45 minutes until you get like a first kill. This film's kind of the same way in regards to it takes about an hour for you to actually kind of really get into the more horrific elements. And when it came to X, I was okay with that because, you know, Kid Cudi, Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, those characters were fun, they were fascinating, they had charisma, where it's the complete opposite with Pearl. All the secondary characters, to me, again, lack charisma. I didn't really care for them, and they were just flat for me. So those are kind of my main criticism with the film. Before I give you all my score and let you know if it's worth checking out, I had mentioned earlier how I appreciated the Technicolor, the aspects of the film, the production. It's almost like an art piece, which is a perfect segue to talk about the sponsor of today's video, Movie Palette. Movie Palette is a distinct way to enjoy your favorite movie displayed artistically on canvas. Their palettes are carefully crafted by digital artists who choose the dominant color from each scene from your favorite movie. These vibrant colors are arranged side by side in stripes on high quality canvas. The stripes are displayed in chronological order, and the width of each one corresponds with the length of the movie scene. The result is an intriguing piece of artwork that gives you a unique view of the movies that you've seen many times before. Now, if you can't find your favorite movie listed on their website, don't worry, you can still enjoy it displayed on the canvas. Simply tell them the name of the movie along with the year it was made, and they will create a custom movie palette just for you. Shout out to Movie Palette. As you all can see, this is my movie palette. I ordered it, came in the mail the other day, and let me know in the comments. I'm going to put it up on the screen again. If you can guess what movie this is, I'll put a heart next to your comment. But Movie Palette is incredible. Again, I'm a fan of production and appreciating art, and essentially they put the whole film in one frame, and you can really appreciate that. So for anyone that wants to get this beautiful piece of art, you can use my link in the description of this video. So overall, what do I think about this film, Pearl? Now, I would highly suggest, if you're a fan of X like I am, do not go into Pearl expecting the same experience because you will not get that. Now, as a character study on what it's like to be obsessive over becoming a star and what it can do to someone with the Hollywood glitz and glamour, then yes, the film definitely delivers, especially when you talk about this amazing performance and the great creative direction and unique filmmaking by Ty West. But unfortunately, with the lack of an uninteresting story and an uninteresting set of supporting cast members, I am going to ultimately give this film a 3 out of 5. And the only reason I'm getting a 3 out of 5, I'll be honest with you all, when I walked out of the theater, I was feeling more like a 2 out of 5. But again, I go back to that amazing performance and the really solid direction. So again, I'm going to give this film a 3 out of 5. And I do recommend you all give it a watch if you are a fan of exploring psychotic and, crazy murderous characters. But I want to mention one thing, and just to save you all time, there's no post-credit scene, there's no trailer like there was in X. Some people didn't even know that there was a trailer attached to Pearl to X. But I will say, as I'm recording this video, the news just came out, as you all can see on the screen. A24 has greenlit Ty West's MaXXXine, which will be the third film in this X franchise. The film will bring back Mia Goth, and she will be playing the character we saw from X, MaXXXine, and the film will follow the events of X as the sole survivor of someone who continues their journey towards the framing of setting out to be an actress in Los Angeles in 1980s. So I am very excited to see what that film has to offer. But again, let me know your thoughts on Pearl. Which one did you like more, Pearl or X? Your pros, your cons, and everything in between. Let's talk about it in the comments below. Again, shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Movie Palette. You can use my discount code if you want to order that piece of art in the comment section, or I should say in the description of this video. Thank you again for watching this video. Just a friendly reminder to like, share, comment, subscribe. Come and join the community. Thank you all again. Hope you're enjoying your day. Again, hit the button right here. Come and join the community. Check out my other reviews that I've seen for movies so far this year. Check out my review for X. We'll catch you all on the next breakdown.